Hello, how's everybody doing today? This is the teaser video for this coming Sunday, which would be September 27th. And first of all, I just want to thank everyone who came out to see Mark Cable on Saturday. I think that was a great event. I think we had about 50 people or so in the sanctuary, and then we had I think 7 of the youth downstairs. They didn't have any kids to watch, but they were there in case anyone showed up, so they could do that. So it's exciting. We took in 4 new members this week, and we have one more new one to take in this coming Sunday. That will actually give us 26 new members for the year. That's exciting time, something that again we can celebrate. It's also been good to see more and more people start coming back to church. It's interesting because I think we've gotten to the point where people are starting to decide that, you know what, they need to start living their lives again. For so long, some of us have, or some people have put themselves in self isolation or, basically solitary confinement, which that's a bad place to be in prison. It's even, horrible when we're doing it to ourselves in the matter of staying safe. And I think what we're seeing now is more people are realizing that you can actually start living your life a little bit, even in this situation, with washing your hands, wearing your masks, social distancing. I know today the governor of the restaurants and places can open up to 50% capacity. And if you haven't been to the church services yet, you'll notice that people are wearing masks until they get to their seat, which is kind of what they do at restaurants. And then if they get up and move around, they put their mask back on. So that's kind of what we're encouraging, is that people wear their masks. Once they get settled and get in their seat and they're with the people they know, they can go ahead and take their masks off. It's kind of the process, and we encouraging people, of course, to wash hands and do all that. But I thought I'd give this sermon this week is actually about some different numbers and stuff. But I thought I'd tell a little bit when we talk about social distancing or 50% capacity. Our sanctuary actually holds 200 people, and since we reopened in June, we taped off half the pews, so that would put our capacity with the pews roped off to about 100 people per service. We've been averaging between the two services about 40 to 50 people at each service. So for our full capacity, that we've been running about 25%. For us to go up to 50%, which is I guess now allowed, you could come to church and bring 49 of your closest friends. Basically, we could have 100 at each service and be running right around the 50% capacity, while still doing, again, the face mask, social distancing. Sunday school opened this past Sunday, and most Sunday schools made sure they just spaced the chairs out. So we are kind of getting back to a resemblance of what we're doing before, but we are taking those precautions, and we've been very fortunate since we've reopened back up. No cases of COVID-19 for anyone in the church who's been attending worship or anything like that. So, and we're going to keep doing the disinfecting and things we're doing. But for those who started to venture back out and decided that, rather than living in solitary confinement, they want to get out a little bit and get to church, you probably will encounter less people in church than you do on a typical grocery run or run to the store or anything like that. And we are putting in the same precautions as restaurants and everything else. So, if you're considering it, we love to have you back. You're here for about an hour. If you have kids going to school, if you've been going back to work, if you have kids going back to school, your family's already, they're encountering more people in school than you will at a worship service. So again, we hope to see more people. We are excited for everyone who is worshiping, and if it's something you've been considering about, just realize wear your mask to your seat and stuff like that. Now, my sermon this week is talking about being good stewards, and it's actually coming from Proverbs chapter 6, verses 1 through 5. Proverbs chapter 6, 1 through 5. And as you read the passage, it may not jump out actually what it means about being good stewards, and I actually go into it on detail about what this passage is saying, but we need to understand about being good stewards. And when I talk about being good stewards, I'm not just talking about, hey, as a church, we need to be good stewards. I mean, budget time's coming up, congregational meetings in November, and yeah, we try to be good stewards with the funds that, you have blessed us through your tithes and offerings, and how we can do our ministries and still maintain the building and take care of, salaries or whatever we have to take care of, and still to do our ministries. And we want to be good stewards. We don't want to be wasteful. But this proverb, it really is talking about personal. And so I will be talking about personal finances. I will be bringing up some numbers. I'll be talking about some numbers from 2008 and 2009, because obviously we had the stock market crash in 2008. And then I'll look at some numbers from 2019 when we talk about things about the average credit card debt for family, the credit card debt for the country. And when you read this proverb, and it talks about security with your neighbor and having a pledge, and it's talking about, as I talk about, as community service and reaching out and helping our neighbors, this proverb really kind of puts a caveat to that, yeah, we are to be generous. Colleen Gross at General Conference, she has a whole seminar or a whole series about generosity, and she's already given it to Pembroke. When I was first here, she was filling in and finishing her generosity, and generosity is a very key thing as Christians, as we talk about our way of life and trying to be helpful. But there's also the point of being good stewards. You have to be generous, but you cannot put your own family in the hole by doing that. Scripture talks a lot about taking care of your family, being self-sufficient. Scripture always talks about the family should be taking care of their relatives and taking care of each other before they give them out to the community. Because the Christians you took care of your family, you took care of the widows and orphans, those who did not have any family to help take care of them. And to be able to do that, you had to be a good steward. Now, we live in a world today where a lot of people won't, help out their own family, or a lot of people, if they are looking for handouts, if it's from the government or if it's always asking people for assistance or whatever. Well, part of being a good steward is being able to control your own finances. And as Christians, we need to make sure that we're not out of a burden on others. We are supposed to make sure we live within our means, so we can take care of ourselves, so we don't cast that burden to others. That's kind of what we'll be talking about with the good stewardship. I know the first few minutes was just welcoming people back. And again, it is exciting to see faces come back, see new faces, as people get to know us either through our YouTube videos or word of mouth. And youth group will be starting again on October 4th, and Holy Hangout, kind of a kick-out thing, October 7th. So there's things that we're doing because we've now realized, being open since June, July, August, we're now in September, 4 months of the disinfecting and the social distancing and the good hygiene and the masks. We're figuring out how to be the people of God during the current time. So we look forward to anyone who, if you haven't been back and you're thinking about doing that, we encourage you. There's plenty of room. If you go to the first service, there's plenty of room in the front half of the sanctuary. If you go to the second service, there's probably room in the back, and second service is a little more spread out throughout the sanctuary, but there's room. Chances are you can have a pew to yourself. So we look forward to seeing everyone, and again, be safe. And for those who are recovering from surgeries and procedures, and keep them in your prayers, and keep our students and just everyone who's dealing with this pandemic or dealing with masses of people. Keep them all in your prayer, and hopefully I'll get to see you on Sunday. Until then, take care and be safe.